Do you believe scientists can make you better at English? Maybe not that one. Hi, my name's Damien. I'm the English sledgehammer that smashes down language barriers. And in this series, I do Thai language learning experiments on myself to help you get better at English. In this episode, I'm looking at research into learning how to learn. By the end of the video, you'll have 4 strategies that you can apply straight away to your English language studies to get results. What is learning how to learn? Well, it's the science of unlocking how your brain learns new skills. Learning is an important life skill, yet this is probably the one subject you didn't study at school. It's not surprising to find out that the most successful online course of all time is called Learning How to Learn by Barbara Oakley and Terry Sawalski. If you like this video, then make sure you check out the links below for a link to the Learning How to Learn online course. I use their ideas all of the time when I'm studying Thai language. I'm going to share with you today their top 4 tips. So, are you ready to start learning how to learn? When you're studying English and you face a really hard grammar problem, have you ever gone to sleep and then woken up the next day and somehow during the nighttime you've solved that grammar problem? Well, there is some science behind this, and it's not the tooth fairy. There are 2 types of thinking: focused and diffuse mode. The focus mode is when you're putting all your attention onto one task. You have no distractions. So maybe, as I said before, you're studying a new grammar point, the present perfect, and you've switched off your phone, you've cleared your desk, and you're just focusing on the task at hand. While the diffuse mode of thinking is when you're not focused on the task. So maybe you stop studying and you give yourself a break. Even though you're not focusing on that grammar problem, in the background, your mind is still clicking over the solution and trying to work out how to solve that problem. And that explains why you might solve a problem when you go to sleep, because your diffuse mode is active when you're sleeping. So, how do you best harness the power of the diffuse mode? Well, you can use something called the Pomodoro method. This is a method where you have 25-minute study blocks where you studied in focus mode for 20 minutes, and then you spend 5 minutes rewarding yourself with a free time activity. And this will help you activate your diffuse mode. Okay, it's the night before a test and you're doing your final study. What do? You grab out your trusty highlighter pen and you're highlighting everything in your English textbook in the hope that if you highlight it, you'll remember it. But that isn't usually the case, is it? So, what science says is that you need to use picture walks and recall to better help you remember those ideas and concepts, or in our case, grammar and vocabulary. So instead of highlighting, what you want to do is first do a picture walk of the chapter. That is where you look at all the pictures, the headings, and you look at the questions, and you basically get an overview of the whole chapter. And this will help you organize the ideas in your brain a lot better. After that, you then want to do recall. Don't just highlight. Look at the book, then at the end of the page, close the book and try to recall. Doing this one simple technique will help you remember things way better than highlighting. Finally, if you want to build brain links or gain mastery in a subject, then hey, you need to actually be practicing what you're going to do in real life. So if you want to get good at speaking, what do? Practice speaking. Okay, let me tell you a story to help illustrate the concept of interleaving. Now, there was an experiment done on some baseball players. Now, one group, the control group, they just batted against the same type of pitch every time. And they just practiced that one pitch over and over again until they got really good at hitting the ball when it was pitched that way. Now, the experimental group, they practiced a variety of pitches in the one session. So the person throwing the ball, threw fast balls, slow balls, high balls, low balls. Now, who did better when it came to playing the match? And if you guessed it was the second group that had a variety of pitches, then you're right. So how do you apply the concept of interleaving to your English study? Well, every time you do a study session, make sure you're not only including the current chapter, but you're also including questions or ideas or practice from the previous chapter. That then allows you to interleave different topics. Also, another way is using the Pomodoro method, which I mentioned in tip 1. So just do your study sessions. Instead of just studying writing for an hour, study writing for 25 minutes, then have a break, then do speaking. Then after that, do listening. So interleave between the 4 skills rather than just doing big, long study sessions, focusing on one skill only. Got it? Okay, our final tip is spaced repetition. Now, in the classroom, I see the forgetting curve all the time. Even students forget what I just taught them 5 minutes ago. So forgetting is a real problem when you're studying a language. So let me show you this graph and how you can fight the problem of forgetting. Okay, in this graph you can see the forgetting curve, that everything you learn is being forgotten at a very quick rate. And probably by the end of the week, you might only remember 10% of what you learnt. Now, one way to do this is to try and review what you learnt. And you can review with recall, which is a really good way to do this. And you need to space those repetitions or space your practice so that a week later you go back and return to the vocabulary you learned a week before. And then you come back again 2 weeks, then 3 weeks, and then 4 weeks. And the more exposure you have to that word, the more likely it is to shift into long-term memory. Some online programs that are good for this include Quizlet and Memrise. And if you're looking for like a full vocabulary system, then why not try my book, which covers all these ideas in a lot more detail. There you have it, 4 science-based methods or techniques that'll not only help you get better in English, but also help you get better in any subject you're learning in life. Pretty good value, right? So why not, in the comments below, tell me what study technique you're gonna start using right now in your English studies. Remember to sledgehammer that subscribe button, hit that bell for reminders, and most importantly, start smashing English language barriers today.